The boy is finally here, and guess what? He's broken. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are taking a look at the STR Super Vegeta's EZA details. We have the details tweeted out by JP Dokkan, but of course, since this is the shared Sunday campaign, he's coming to both Global and JP here on the 24th. So really exciting stuff here. He's also got a little tag-along unit, the AGL Super Vegeta, the meme himself. So let's go ahead, let's jump on in, let's take a look at what these guys are doing. So shout out to Minato for putting out the translations here. We're going to take a look at STR Super Vegeta first. Now remember, this guy back before his EZA was a glass cannon, right? He wrecked house in some of the most difficult content at the time of his release, which was in fact, Extreme Super Battle Road. So it's kind of curious to see how they adjusted him for the relevant meta, including what's on Global as well as what's on JP. So let's start with his leader skill. He has Mastered Evolution, Pure Saiyans. He's a flat 170 to both categories, so nice there. On his super attack, he's raising defense for the turn, causing immense damage, and has guaranteed crit for the turn. And his passive gets key 2, attack and defense 200%. He guards all attacks for 5 turns. Very nice, right? Like, that was his thing, is that he had no way to defend himself for the first attack, and he needed to be hit in order to get a buff. Now, he also has an additional 100% when performing a super attack. He's got another additional 50% up to 100 with each super attack performed. So by turn 2, if he's launched an additional attack, he's got, which you should have additional invested in him because he was guaranteed crit before. He's got, what is that? 200% attack and defense, right? No, 200 from his base, 100 from performing super with follow-up supers, 300% attack. That's Super Trunks level already right there. He's got an additional attack defense 50% after receiving an attack. So there's that attack buff. So notice how they took that little bit of attack buff he was getting before and fine-tuned it. So now he's getting more from the super. So you're not losing anything by not being attacked first. In fact, you're gaining more by having in slot 2, right? That was his big issue. You were basically forced to put him in slot 1, which was very dangerous for him before. But now, not so much. And he also has an additional 50% attack defense and guards all attacks when facing a cell enemy. And launches an additional super attack after receiving an attack. Very nice. So, I mean, Red Zone Cell, I guess, would work for that. But also Cell Max on the JP side of things, which is really nice because it's a tough fight, right? The stage 2 of Cell Max. So very nice. And of course, he has his guaranteed stun. So very nice. I like what they did here, right? That's assuming a cell fight, right? That's up to 500% attack and defense. Anything else, you're looking at about 400% to 450%. That's pretty darn good. That is a huge multiplier. I don't think people are understanding. I mean, I've already seen a lot of talk about how he's not good enough, but right, I think with the guard for 5 turns, as well as the 400% attack and defense, like, he's gonna be fine taking normals. Like, let's hop over to Halvard's calcs here, right? We got his calcs up on screen here. So this is what he is looking like. So we are looking at about start of turn on turn 1 about just under 200k, which makes sense. So his post super on that turn, if he gets a double super, which he's gonna get, right? If you have him full additional investment, he's just under 1 million. If he gets the attack first, right, or there's an AoE, he's looking at 1.1 million. All right, if he has his full buildup and is attacked first, same thing, 1.1 million. So that's the post super. So that's pretty darn good. Now, if you're facing a cell enemy, you're jumping up to 1.5 million with all of that, because he's got that guaranteed additional super. Now, if you're doing that with 40% support, we're looking at 1.7 million there. So that is pretty darn impressive. Very, very nice. So, I mean, realistically, Cell isn't always going to be possible. So 40 to 50% support over here, that's still going to be like 1.3 to 1.4 million. King Vegeta support, right? You're talking 1.5 to 1.7 again with that 90% support that King Vegeta is giving, right? So, I mean, honestly, he's good. I don't know how else to say this, right? He's a slot 2 unit. Your slot 1 is Tech Vegeta. He's slot 2. I think he's going to be more than good enough in that scenario, to be completely honest. He may struggle a bit with supers from some of the 9th anniversary content, but hey, that's every unit ever anyways right now, barring 3 units, one of whom requires dodging in order to survive the supers. So, I mean, realistically, I think he's going to be all right. So, of course, we'll have to wait and see in game to how he's looking. Now, we do have the AGL Super Vegeta EZA. I do want to see what this guy looks like. So, he's looking at AGL STR Fizz types, 90%. To be expected. You're not going to be expecting much out of him there. You're not going to be running him as lead, except maybe in like Battlefield or something. He is causing supreme damage. He's a sealer. That's nice. And raises attack for 9 turns. So he gets some pretty fancy attack numbers with that 9-turn raise. He's got 150 on his attack and defense. He's got an additional 100% when performing a super attack, and he gets guaranteed crit if you're below 50% HP. He has a 70% chance to launch an additional super attack and reduces damage received by 30%. So, I mean, already looking pretty good here. I mean, realistically, what this guy is, you're running him as a floater anyways. That's typically how these little sub-EZAs work. He's also got an additional 20% damage reduction when 70% below at the start of turn. He's got an additional 20% when 50% below, and additional 20% when 30%. So that's stacks, right? So that's up to 90% damage reduction. So that's pretty impressive, but again, that assumes you're below 30% HP, and you know that can be kind of scary for some other units that don't have 90% damage reduction. And he also is a type support for 25% to AGL, STR, and Fizz, and then an additional 25. Okay, nice. And then he keeps the weekend's regeneration. So, okay, not too bad. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Let's take a look at his stats here. So, yeah, he's got nothing on his super for defense. So 400k is all he's getting, and then 90%, up to 90% damage reduction. So 70%, well, I mean, 30% with 400k is not too bad. It's going to be tanking most normals, but I mean, it's still kind of scary. It's 3rd slot floater. AoEs are going to be destructive for him, but otherwise, he's probably going to be okay in most scenarios, especially if you're just floating him off. You know, a lot of the 9th anniversary content is going to keep you at low HP anyway, so he's going to be having most of that damage reduction up a lot to begin with. So, yeah, I mean, he's not the best. He's a sub-EZA. I mean, we'll have to see him in game, but I am a bit worried about him. But again, it's a sub-EZA. I'm not too concerned with it. I'm more concerned with how they handled STR Super Vegeta, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. The dude is going to be a beast. He's going to be still a bit of a glass cannon for some super attacks, but everything else, he's going to be hitting like a truck next to Big Bang Vegeta and Super Trunks. This is going to be real fun to use these guys together. I can't wait to run this team. So, guys, that is it for our video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let me know what are your thoughts on the 2 Super Vegetas. I think STR Vegeta's looking pretty good, but I'm curious what you're thinking in the comments down below. And while we're here, let me know what you think of the new news overlay setup. Trying something a little bit different here, you know, other than just, you know, simply throwing up a screen recording. Would love to hear what you guys are thinking of the setup here in the comments down below. Let me know. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.